here and stuff, okay? And I got an umbrella and everything. Let me put my wellies on and put on my, you gotta make sure you're prepared for weather like this. Here we go. There we go. All set. We're all set for this.
What are you wearing? It's not really raining in here, you know.
I know, but this is to tell everyone about the shoes of the gospel of peace. Only in this video, it's the wellies of the gospel of peace. Did you see them? I have them down there.
No. It's shoes, Mike, not wellies.
Well, last time we talked about the peace with God and gave that big word, you remember, reconciliation. You remember that? Yeah.
I do remember.
Then you told that cool story of Philemon and Ollie. Yeah, I'm going to call him Ollie. I can't say that.
His name is Onesimus.
Okay, yeah, him. And this time, we are talking about the peace of God when we navigate the storms of life and all the bad situations and crises that can happen to us. This is the peace that helps us to stand firm in the storms of life, like a good pair of wellies that I have on right down there. That they keep our feet dry from mud and grime and water, as we may have to walk in sometimes all these things. So remember the story of when Jesus calmed the storm by saying, "Peace, be still." Do you remember that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, he does the same when difficulties and hard times come into our lives. The Lord of peace is always in the boat with us in the storms of life.
So are you going to tell everyone that account?
No, I'm not going to tell that account. I'm going to tell a different account from the Bible, but similar in principle, that we should always look to the Lord of peace, Jesus, to bring peace in a crisis. This is an account from the Old Testament that happened in Israel. The Syrians were Israel's enemies. The king made battle plans and called his army commanders together. He had plans to attack Israel, and they were secret plans. The commanders of the army thought the king's plans were good, so they would send their soldiers to set up their camp in the place the king told them to go to. Meanwhile, back in Israel, there was a prophet of God called Elisha. He would hear the Lord's voice and tell others what God told him to say. God spoke to Elisha and told him the Syrian king's secret plans to attack Israel. God gave Israel the exact secret information. Elisha took the message that God gave him and went to the king Jehoram of Israel and said, "Don't go near such and such place because the enemy is going to ambush you there." So the king of Israel wouldn't send the army there, and the Syrians were left high and dry.
Well, that must have been really weird for the Syrians.
Yeah, it was. The king of Syria tried again, and the same thing happened. God gave Elisha a message. Elisha went to King Jehoram, and the king made sure none of his army was attacked. The king of Syria was furious and demanded to know which of his men was the spy. One of the commanders of the army said, "None of us are doing that, your majesty. You see, there is a man of God named Elisha who lives in Israel. This man tells the king of Israel the very words that you have spoken privately." "Is that right? Well, then we will just gather up an army and capture this Elisha. He will no longer be able to ruin our plans to attack Israel." The commanders found out where Elisha was, and they went and surrounded the city. It was called Dothan, to capture him and take him prisoner. Early in the morning, Elisha's servant got up and went to look out the window. He was startled by what he saw. As far as his eyes could see, there were armies from Syria surrounding their town. This greatly frightened him.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that.
I would be afraid too. He quickly went to Elisha with the news. "Elisha, what shall we do? Don't you see the army surrounding us?" But Elisha said, "Don't be afraid. Those who are on our side of the battle is more in number than the armies that surround us." Now imagine the servant's surprise. All he could see was the Syrian enemy army. Elisha had a deeper understanding of God and the unseen spiritual world. Elisha prayed to the Lord for his servant, And he said, "O Lord, open his eyes so he may see." God heard Elisha's prayer, and the servant looked out the window again and saw the hills filled with a heavenly army. There were horses and chariots of fire surrounding the town. Elisha's servant could now see that God was protecting them and didn't need to be afraid of the human army surrounding them.
Well, that's a lot like what we're experiencing today, isn't it?
Oh, what's that?
We are in what feels like a scary situation with the spread of disease and infection. The COVID-19 crisis is worldwide, and fear is gripping a lot of people. But God is not surprised by it all. He tells us not to fear, but look to him for peace in this crisis. In Jesus, there is no need to be blinded by fear. He will give us his strength to stand firm in the middle of the storm and see how much he is fighting for us, just like Elisha's servant saw God's fiery army surrounding them.
After God opened his eyes, he really did have peace with God, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
That's really, really good, and that's
true.
important to remember. Hey, Tina.
What?
Well, I got something for you.
This makes me nervous.
I brought you something to help you stand firm.
What's that?
Well, they're right over here. I brought you your welly.
Ugh, I don't like wearing those things.
These
I'd
are
rather
her
go
wellies.
barefoot in the puddles.
Come on,
no.
they will keep you free dry.
No,
Okay.
I'm not wearing them. No.
All right, okay.
No, I'm
All
not
right.
wearing them. Get away from me. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
She's gonna
That's
wear
us.
her wellies.
Couple more days. We're gonna do video 3. We'll see you then.
Bye. Okay,
Bye.
you're gonna wear your wellies.
No, I'm
Okay.
not. No. Go away.